Well, no pressure to perform well today, Tim, but last week's episode was very well received.
I think so.
So I know you do best when you are under stress.
And duress.
I think we got a good one for today, though.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too stressful this week.
No, this is going to be good.
All right.
There's an Adam. Oh, it's a 101.
Someone call for a doctor?
Always entertaining, accidentally informative. We're bringing nostalgia and camaraderie to the hobby. That's Tim. I'm Chad. This is Back to the Future Podcast, Season 2, Episode 16, Preparation for the National.
Wow. It's coming upon us already.
And it only took us 2 seasons for me not to call it Nationals Card Show. Tim, we're going to have our typical weekly updates, but we've got a few different things that we want to talk about in preparation for the National. We're going to be talking and find out if you're still going. We'll talk about what our plans are for in Chicago, and most importantly, what maybe you should do to prepare between now and then. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a show.
All right, I like it, Tim. Well, as always, let's bring the listeners some weekly updates. We had some big weekly updates last week. Yeah, Vegas Tommy was running wild.
That he was.
I was on a midlife crisis buying Walt Disney autographs. But Tim, while you get some music queued up there, you got that soundboard rolling?
Oh, do I?
I don't know. You're fondling it with confusing look. You did it.
That'll work.
Proud of you.
All
All right, guys. Well, no card purchases for me last week. However, I did receive a text message last weekend from Wax Museum Kyle, friend of the show.
I think so.
After I posted a photograph of the Walt Disney auto, within seconds, I swear it was seconds, he sends me a text message with a copy of the document where it was cut from. I don't know how he does this.
I've got this friend Anton on Facebook, and I don't know how he tracks people down on social media either, but some people are just creepy.
And just really good at it.
No, creepy.
Kyle, I think you're really good at it. Tim thinks you're creepy. We're probably somewhere in between. But the actual document, I want to highlight just a little bit because this made me love my cut auto even more. So this autograph was from a board of directors meeting from Walt Disney Enterprises.
Man, like the minutes page?
It kind of was.
Yeah.
It wasn't minutes. It was a 2-page document.
Okay.
That was basically, and they didn't even get down into the minutes. They said, hey, this is for re-election. It was a notification of re-election or election to the board for not only the chair, which Disney was, but also president and a few other titles as well. So, which I thought was super cool. This was signed February 15th, 1960, which happens to be the last year that Walt Disney served as chair.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you just know my heart was fluttering when I read that.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that is super cool, and I am over the moon at that document. It was found and actually sold through RR Auction. It was authenticated by JSA and Phil Sears when it was sold back in 2021.
So that's pretty good sign.
It is a good sign. I think both of those, and Phil Sears, who people may not know, is a fairly predominant seller of all things Walt Disney. And so made me quite a bit reassured, but here's the question that I have, Tim.
What's that?
How do I get the rest of the document?
I was about to ask that.
I want it.
How many pieces is it in?
That's a good question.
No.
I would believe that that's the only autograph out of those 2 pages that would be worthwhile having. I can't imagine they would cut it up and put just the print somewhere else. But I have to imagine those two pages are out there somewhere.
What was that product that our other host used to really like?
He would have like a cutout letter.
Historical
I got
autographs.
the letter L.
Yeah, it was like historical autographs, right?
I think it was.
Yeah, and like most of the relics were not autographs.
Right.
Right. That's where it went.
It's shredded into 1,000 pieces.
Shredded.
If anyone knows where I can get this document, I went onto Twitter and tagged Tops. I mean, that's not going to work, and it didn't work.
Of course not.
But if anyone knows where I can get that document, I would love to have it.
Would you? No, you wouldn't. But I know the answer to this question. You wouldn't take the auto from the card and pop it out and like glue it back together, right?
No,
And then send it into JSA.
of course I wouldn't.
Have it authenticated.
I would leave it in the frame and then glue the frame onto the document.
That would be a
course.
custom,
Can you
custom piece
imagine
if ever.
how janky that would be? A couple of pieces of duct tape sticking out the side.
Yeah, especially after you put it in one of those massive Beckett slabs. You just like slap it.
Could you imagine what Mrs. Doc would say if she walked downstairs into our Disney bar? What the hell is this?
No, it'd be in pieces already because FedEx would drop it off at the
Oh
front
my
door.
God.
And bring,
Oh my God. They are the worst. I don't know. I don't know how that document or that card is not in 1,000 pieces already.
I don't know either.
But my update for the week is that, Kyle sending over that information, I very much appreciate it. To me, just added a little extra bonus to that card that I had.
That's a pretty cool find. Thank you, Kyle. That was entertainment for both of us. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
All right, enough of my Disney. Tim, you had an amazing week last week. You were betting on NASCAR. I think that you were betting. We have like a dog racetrack down here in Utah. You were betting on that, I think, during your lunch break at work last week. But what do you have for us this week?
I was scouting all the like newborn chickens and trying to handicap them all for the next cockfight too.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. I'm actually watching some baseball these days.
All right.
What did Dan M in our group chat send this morning? It was like
I don't know.
it was a beautiful like Luis Robert auto.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, does he still play baseball? Because he got benched back at the end of April for not hustling out a routine ground ball to third base that he probably would have been safe on if he had ran. Then afterwards, he had, through his interpreter, said that he was hurt and he hadn't told the manager and that he probably should have.
You think?
I don't know how good an excuse that actually was, but at the time, I looked up his stats. He was batting a whopping .213
Ouch.
with just 5 homers on the season.
That's your guy.
That's my guy. First Bowman auto, base auto, BGS 9.5 was about $380 in the offseason. Should have been an impulse buy, right? But also watching how like Yohan Moncada, like how his stuff has tanked, how Eloy's stuff has tanked because he hasn't been able to stay healthy and probably never will. And I hesitated. I should have picked up more of his stuff. You know what happened after he got benched?
What's he doing?
His average is up to 276. He's hit 8 dingers in the last month.
8 dingers in a month.
Yeah,
Not bad.
that's pretty good.
That's more than I've hit in the last month.
But yeah, I bring that up to say that I'm probably the most fair weather collector on the face of the planet.
That is probably fairly accurate. So you didn't buy any Luis Robert cards?
No, and of course now as his price is going up, I'm starting to eyeball him again. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's hard, right? I mean, the guy's not playing well. He's hitting poorly. He's not hustling.
No, yeah, it was pretty disappointing. And the White Sox have been so bad this year. I mean, when he wasn't hustling, that was like in the middle of their 10-game losing streak this season. And I was just like, I was checked out. I was like, F this guy.
So your weekly update in this regard was of remorse? Regret?
I don't know. Just observation, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still lukewarm on him. I think it's tough because the White Sox are just bad. So even if he starts playing well, I mean, the hobby's not going to really move much at this point after you already tanked.
Right.
And not that should matter, but maybe I'll start collecting him again, half-heartedly, like I do everything.
What about collecting a guy that's a known product and a Hall of Famer?
Huh. Like Frank Thomas?
Like Frank Thomas.
Yeah. I think that's still the tried and true remedy here for my collecting woes when it comes to baseball.
I agree.
Yeah. And he's still very affordable, which is nice. You know how I'm going to forward one of his no NAM on front rookie cards graded by PSG?
How's that?
Continuing to bet on NASCAR and golf.
Oh, God. Oh, boy. So you're telling me Vegas Tommy was still running wild last week?
Oh, man. Brooks Koepka. You texted. shot me a little screenshot of you, I believe, watching some golf, and you were like,
I only watched because I knew you had units on it.
it wasn't even that much. It was like 0.2 units. That's a little dribble.
Oh, gosh. Secretly, I wanted to see him tank.
Did you?
Kind of. There was a little piece of me that wanted to see you self-destruct. But I did watch because I wanted to see you win.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know you have your best buddy's interest at heart when you watch those.
I do.
And he pulled it out. And that cashed to the tune of 4.2 units because he was plus 2,100.
You are such a junkie.
Yeah. But it caught my attention because, this no NAM minus the E on front on eBay popped up in my saved searches feed.
Okay, tell me about that. I did not understand that when you popped that in here. I was like, oh, is that a spelling error? What's going on with that?
So the no NAM on front, Frank Thomas rookie card, is by far and away one of my main priorities for the foreseeable future in the hobby.
Right.
I definitely want that card more than ever. And, I track that search and see what pops up every now and then. And this week, a misspelled listing somehow popped up.
Oh, I see.
That's what's in quotes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And one, misspelled listing, usually going to be cheaper. And then two, when I looked closely, the slab said, graded by PSG.
You said that earlier, and that went, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does because that company doesn't exist.
Oh, lovely.
At least not in its current modern day form in any way, shape, or form, as far as I can tell.
Huh.
So a PSG Mint 10, no NAM on front.
Sounds like a red flag, man.
Does it though? I mean, the seller has like 100% feedback, like 1,225 feedback.
So, okay. So you have a misspelling of a card title.
Misspelling of a really iconic card title.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And if someone truly is a card seller, I mean, maybe they just misspelled it. Maybe. But PSG?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, did you buy it?
I don't know. It's at like $630 with 2 days left.
Oh, it's an auction.
Yeah.
I see.
Uh-huh. I don't know how much higher it goes.
We'll find out based on how many units you win tonight.
Yeah. We'll think about it because it's got a dinged bottom left corner. It's questionable if it's authentic. I don't know. A lot of questions there.
Okay.
But if NASCAR plays out well again, might do well there too. Because Mr. Kyle Larson pulled through for me on the All-Star race.
You know his first and last name.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
great.
Yeah, he earned that from me after my research.
Did you watch it?
Nope. On the Google Live feed for the race updates.
I don't even know what to say to you.
I don't know. Well, he cashed.
How many units?
4 units. It was pretty good.
So what was your net plus minus for last week, for those keeping track at home?
8 units.
Wow.
Yeah, that's subtracting out all the whiffed like baseball player props, throughout the week.
All right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
Now give the listeners a little hint. You don't have to tell them the whole list. You sent me a text with the number of units you got going on for golf this weekend.
Should I put them out there?
We'll post them on social media.
Okay, let's do that.
But you've got at least a couple of units on golf this weekend.
Well, you had to go and ruin a little bit of the excitement by saying, you put 2 units on golf this
You
week?
told me what all the numbers were. All I had to do was add them in my head.
That's impressive. You added it correctly.
There were 5 numbers there. It wasn't that hard.
Colin Morikawa, you better pull through this week.
I don't even know who half those guys were.
Hey, well, when the show releases on Saturday morning, you just have 2 rounds of golf to watch, and then you'll know if I'm going to be okay or not. No NAM on front. You're mine. Coming for you.
Please don't ever stop betting on ridiculous things so we can still have this weekly update.
I don't know how interesting it is. It's certainly not hobby related, but it might help my hobby ventures. So it's loosely hobby related, just like our podcast.
I like it. Please don't ever stop. Please don't ever stop. All right, Tim. Well, anything else for the weekly update for you? That's a pretty good update.
Yeah, that's it for now.
All right.
Need to save some for next week.
Yes, we do. We do indeed. All right, guys. Well, before we get into kind of our main event here, where we're going to be talking about preparation for the National, perhaps let's throw in a little plug for our old friend there at Zion Cases. Now would be quite the time, speaking of preparing for the National, to get yourself a Zion case. Tim, you've got they have such a wide variety of what they can offer you. Tim's grabbing the mini case, which we'll hold one card, one beautiful no-nom Frank Thomas card. You will either put a mini handle on just to carry this solo case around the National, or perhaps fashion a necklace. I love that you're illustrating this on YouTube. Again, another reason to go check out our YouTube channel, Pack to the Future podcast.
It reminds me of like Deal or No Deal, right? Except I'm like far less attractive than the models.
Yeah, they are. I mean, no offense to you, Tim, but they are more attractive. They are more my type. But if the solo case isn't for you, say you need an XL. You want to be able to hold slabs, your mags, and all of your cards, take them around safely, be able to carry them in a briefcase, safe, secure, with multiple colors, Tim. Zion Cases is right for you. So head on over to zioncases.com, promo code PACK. It's going to save you 10% at checkout. That's promo code PACK at zioncases.com.
Sweet.
All right. Well, Tim, let's talk about the National NSCC 2023. We are going to be talking about a whole different host of topics associated with this. Number one, are we going? What are we going to be doing when we get there? Maybe some words of advice on what the listeners can be doing now to help prepare them financially. And hey, maybe for some people who don't have a whole lot of money but still want to attend, well, we've got some good ideas of how you can still have a good time there.
Every now and then we do.
So I want to lead off probably the most important question. Tim, are you still planning on going as of right now?
I haven't canceled my plane tickets or my hotel's reservation.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I know.
If you lose all of your units this week, will that change your plans for the National?
Oh, I mean, the tickets are already a sunk cost. I mean, I might as well show up.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever confirm, is the lady friend going with you or not?
She is not. Neither is the daughter of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, that's a good title.
Dots?
The daughter of the show. I like that.
Yeah. I like Dots.
It took me the second time for you to say it for me to actually figure out what dots meant. I thought you said thoughts, which is why I offered my thoughts, and here we are. All right, I too will be going, Tim. We do have a tendency when we go to these shows together of you kind of abandoning me and ditching me. Similar to the show a couple weeks ago.
No, I never do that.
Wait, you made me sit in your hallway corner while you did the interview a couple weeks ago.
Gave you some whiskey.
I appreciated that. Thank you. Tim, you going to hang out with me when we're at the National?
Yeah, that's the plan.
All right, good.
Depends how sweaty you get, though.
Yeah, that can be a problem.
Swamp crotch is real.
All right, guys. But all kidding aside, Tim and I have been throwing out some ideas of things that we could do aside from pounding the pavement inside that lovely concrete floor of the National. I want to throw out some ideas. I want to see if listeners have ideas as well, because I think some of these things would really add to the experience.
That's true. I mean, there's listeners out there with far more experience going to the National than either of us do, or just in the hobby in general. And I'm sure when you crowdsource, there's pretty good ideas that come out.
That's true. That is very true. Tim, you did grow up in Chicago. I attended the National there 2 years ago, but I've only been once. We looked at the baseball schedule, not far from where the expo is.
Yeah.
We've got White Sox Cubs that week.
Ooh. It's supposed to be a rivalry game. But there's not much punch on one side of that rivalry at the moment.
But I mean, how often do you get to see your team play?
No, not very often. It's been at least 4 years.
I got to imagine ticket prices aren't going to be incredibly high.
No. Yeah, if you want the nosebleeds, I can't imagine we'll spend more than like $10 a ticket.
Right.
Well, no, it'll be more because of the Cubs, but...
Sure.
Maybe
But
20.
Wednesday night, we talked about potentially doing that Wednesday night.
Yeah, because we get in that Wednesday afternoon, barring any kind of new Delta setback or rescheduling of our flights. We should be able to get there in plenty of time.
Right. Tim, we've also talked about maybe going to Bears training camp. And I did look this week. The schedule for training camp is not yet up.
Nope.
But it's something to consider. Training
It
camp's
is.
pretty fun. I talked about that previously.
That would take some effort to get out to. It's nowhere close to our convention center.
That'd be a problem.
Yeah.
So maybe a setback there.
We'll see.
Are you brunching these days, or where are you at in the brunch world?
Yeah, we'll still brunch.
You'll still brunch?
Yeah.
Maybe we do some brunching when we're out there.
Yeah. We started doing tequila sunrises at home here during brunches. Yeah. It's quite tasty.
You are such a tool.
What?
Season 1, half of our fights were about you wanting to brunch. You and Ricky got in a fist fight in Las Vegas that we didn't tell people about. We really sugarcoated that one. He took a bar chair and jumped off a slot machine and hit you over the head with it when you were teasing him about brunch. And then the beginning of season 2, yeah, we don't brunch anymore.
No.
But now you're brunching again.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Biscuits and gravy, bacon.
Do you keep track of this somewhere so I can stay up to date? Because it's really awkward when we get on the show and I don't know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, I flip flop a lot.
Okay,
Just like
so
pancakes.
brunch is out there. Beers?
Absolutely.
All right. I like that. Okay, so we have brunch. That's a yes. We have beers. That's a yes.
Yep.
Bears, which is a no. And baseball, which is a maybe.
That's 3 out of 4. That's pretty good batting average.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
I would love not only to do those things with you, if listeners would want to go join us at a baseball game, we have yet to buy tickets.
Nope.
I think that would be a ton of fun.
It would be. Should we just get like a row of seats and just...
Oh, that would be so much fun.
We should just like, if people join us, great.
Oh.
If they don't, then we have a whole row to ourselves.
Oh, after this show, let's
Yeah.
pull up tickets and see what the cost is.
Let's even do like a little 3x3 grid instead of a row. Because then
Yes.
we can actually interact with each other and not have like one of those drunk fat women like punch you in the face for rooting for the White Sox.
There's so much of what you said, which is not right. But I'm going to agree with the first part of it. Tim, if tickets are reasonably priced, I'll just buy them after the show.
think so.
Let's take a look right
Yeah,
after.
we just get our own block,
I
just
like
like a
that.
hotel block of rooms, right?
I like that a lot. And then we'll also plan out brunch and beers. People message us if you want to get involved. If you've never interacted with us before and you're like, hey, I don't know if I want to reach out to these guys, just do it.
Just do it. Something interesting always happens, whether that's one of the hosts going down to the ground because of dehydration and alcohol poisoning.
Yep.
Chad sweating through his underpants and leaving wet spots all over the chairs.
Yeah, it's happened.
Or Tim just disappearing and finding some way to like blow $200 on the 50-50 tickets.
That has also happened.
Yeah.
Message us. I think that'd be a ton of fun. Okay, so that's kind of the festivities portion. Tim, I'm excited that you're still committed to going. You've turned a new leaf since 2 years ago
Oh,
when you left me hanging on my own
Hey.
at the last minute.
progress.
Okay, but some tips for people that I think we should discuss. This really, Tim, has been brought out by me. Last week I made a big purchase. Now I'm starting to reevaluate my finances. So here are some thoughts. Tim, when do you stop spending money to save for the National, which is 2 months away, roughly, at this point?
Nah, that's too many weeks of baseball to stop betting on.
That was an awful question. As soon as I said it, I'm like, what the hell am I even asking you? But if you were to give advice to people,
Okay.
what would you
Yeah.
tell them?
Well, if you're paid bi-weekly, it's the Friday of the National where you get paid. So you really need to at least budget 2 weeks before that because you're not going to get paid until that Thursday and Friday of the show.
It's a great point.
So don't bank on your paycheck being there until it's too late because a lot of the cards that are worth getting are going to be there on Thursday. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's some great insight. For me personally, this is it. Like I'm not buying anything anymore, which means that I have to
What?
I have to delete eBay from my phone. I can't resist.
You just can't.
So I want to give myself a couple of months in case I come across something that I just want.
Okay. Yeah.
So at least monitor that depending on your discretionary income. You can make that own decision, but you should think about it nonetheless.
5 weeks sounds about right for cutting off your spending.
I think so.
Yeah, that gives you 2 paychecks.
Are you making a list of cards that you want to look for or chase? I mean, we're going to have buddies there. We can divide and conquer. You know, sometimes it's a good idea to bounce things off your friends who are there. Are you going to make a list?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a short list because I'm always a quality over quantity guy.
Yeah.
And it won't be a very long list because I got to stay focused. There's going to be 5 bazillion people there with like 3,000 different tables. I mean,
It's easy to get overwhelmed.
yeah. No, I mean, if you don't go in focused, you're going to completely shut down because of being overwhelmed.
Right. Or spend all your money too
Or
early.
spend all your money. Blow your wad.
I definitely went early in Dallas. You know, you did as well. I think at the strip club that first night. So
I did not blow my wad at the strip club.
but you were there. But be mindful and perhaps making a list of cards that you want to find because you've heard everyone say this. You know, everything's going to be there at the National. Odds are, if you're going to be looking for it, it's probably going to be there.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea to plan ahead for that.
Yep. May or may not be appropriately priced either.
Right. Now, speaking of pricing, say you're short on cash.
You take an Uber out to Three Rivers Casino in Joliet.
No, you don't. No. Can I mute you? Like, you have a shot. I'm going to mute your mic right now. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, boy. Okay, so here are some thoughts. There are still, I unmuted you because I'm a class act. Short on cash, there's some things that you can still do.
Okay.
Say you have assets, but you don't necessarily want to sell them to have cash. Bring those cards with you. The most fun experience that I've had so far at probably any card show in my life, I say that with a little hesitation because I met Terrell Davis when I was a kid, was at Trade Night in Dallas last year.
You talk about that with very fond memories.
It was great. Cocktails, hanging out with my buds, Kyle and Carter, dealing cards. It was so much fun. And you know how much that cost? Zippo.
Zero. Yeah.
Time of my life. So even if you have something, even if you don't have anything, hey, you want to come hang out with us? We'll set up a table and let's just hang out during trade night. Stay connected with the friends that you're going with. You know, like we just talked about. Let's go to a baseball game. Let's go get brunch. Let's grab a beer. You know, you don't have a ton of money to spend on cards. That's okay.
That's okay. You can still show up and hang out and still be part of the festivities.
I agree. There are people who won't be going to the National.
This is true.
Maybe you can be their eyes and shop for them.
Absolutely. You know, we've talked about doing like Instagram Live, virtual shopping for people, right?
Seemed like that was a big thing maybe early 2021.
Yeah.
Some accounts were doing that like as a business, but you can do that for your buds.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could do that. Well, I guess you're not allowed to do that on like Whatnot or anything, but you know, I don't know.
Can't speak to that.
We'll find some way to make it participatory for all of our listeners.
I like that.
Yeah.
Last one that I have here, if you're just short on cash, just enjoy the scene. Think about how many big names are going to be there signing autographs. Just go window shopping if you'd like. Go people watching.
Yeah. Oh, fascinating.
That in itself is fascinating.
What's the over-under for somebody who tries to like steal something and make it out the door before getting
it's
tackled?
going to happen. Oh, it will happen. You sit back, just go, pay a few bucks for a bucket of popcorn. Get yourself a nice, comfy lounge chair there.
Yeah.
Park it by the door. You'll see it.
Oh, no. Well, there are no chairs at the National. Seating is severely limited. So food for thought is to pack one of those little lightweight camping chairs so you can legitimately take a seat somewhere.
I like that. I like it. All right, Tim, what else insight-wise do you have? That's kind of what I had. If you're short on cash, make a list of cards, quit spending money on things. You got anything else that you want to add for insights? Those are kind of all the common knowledge things.
Scope out, since we're doing this a little bit early. I know the National has been talked about by other shows and other people in the hobby by now, but scope out the autograph list. If you have somebody in mind, you probably have to try to get tickets now. Might even be too late already. Think about the cards that you would want or the memorabilia you would want to have signed by them. Scope out the pricing and also budget for that. That's definitely a very real part of the show. Right. There's going to be live breaks at the show. A lot of the big breakers have a presence. And budget for hobby boxes. There's always stacks and stacks and stacks at a lot of these vendors. Save up for that case of 1986 Fleer that you've always wanted to open for $2.8 million or whatever it is.
You were just talking about that last week.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Units.
Yep.
And, part of this is common knowledge, Tim, but also I think I'm just getting a little bit excited to go. We're under 2 months away. And I said, hey, why not talk about it?
Yeah.
We did have some listener input.
Oh, yeah, of course we did.
Let's go through a couple of those. You want to just bounce back and forth? I can start first.
Sure.
So our friend of the show here, Ezra, PDX Hockey Cards, preparation for him to go to the National, take a big old deuce and drink plenty of water, he says. I don't really know that that's helpful or insightful in any way. Thanks, Ezra. Tim, you want the next one? You got the next one here? It was a late ad. You may not have it in your notes.
The Itch for Cards.
That's Dan.
Dan. Does he even listen to the show anymore?
You chimed in?
Oh. You put a lot of effort into this one, I think. Said save money.
Oh, shit. He's right. Thank you, Tim. Buckingham U. Here's a good one. Plan hangouts with my digital hobby friends.
Aw, I like that. That's what we were talking about.
Come to the baseball game with us. We'll buy you a ticket.
Yeah. Just remember, you're going to be in Chicago. There's so many different ways to enjoy your time there.
True. You want the last one?
Yeah, tasty card sandwich. Build a cash stash. I'm a local, so travel plans, expenses, not an issue.
Yeah. And I met up with him at the last national.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it was great.
Yeah.
You know, building the cash stash, very common theme.
Oh, that's the goal.
There's so much there to see. So much fun to spend your money on cards.
Yeah. Food, beer, sports, arts, Ubers to the casino, and
Tequila sunrises.
oh yeah. All right. Did we cover it all?
I think we got it
I
all.
think we covered it all. Chad.
Tim.
I'll see you at the National.